It's The Batman, and Vengeance arrives in theaters on March 4th worldwide. I've already watched The Batman. If you want to check out my review, you can sure you are free. Feel free to do so. Now that we are just mere days away from the release of The Batman, it's time to predict the box office of one of the most anticipated releases of the year in The Batman. So let's start from the obvious domestic opening weekend. It all depends on how much hyped this film is. Now we are certain that this movie is quite hyped when it comes to YouTubers. But right, I mean I've seen a lot of other lists from other YouTubers, and most of them, like 95% of them, have the Batman at number one. And in the cinema lovers are already liking the Batman because of its filmmaking aspects, but how much hyped is the general audience is all that's going to define the box office. It all turns up to marketing and the pop culture icon the Batman is. So it all depends on, well, the fans and general audiences. Fans of Batman will of course go to the theater to watch this film on opening weekend, as they should. I mean, I'm going back to watch it again with fans because that's the best experience. And the general audiences, I don't know about that. I mean, it's releasing in 4,300 plus theaters. Uh, so it's quite a wide release, and its 3 hour runtime may or may not affect it. See, if all the ticket shows are sold, I think the runtime will affect it. And if still a few seats are empty, then I don't think we should blame the runtime at all. Considering the hype for this film, I will still project it to have a lesser opening than Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, The Dark Knight Rises, and The Dark Knight. I think the opening is going to be 145 million US dollars. I mean, Dark Knight Rises was an event, alright? I mean, it was a sequel to The Dark Knight and the end of the trilogy, so it of course had to open bigger. As for the domestic total, well, it depends on the multiplier. If the whole month of March is for the Batman, I mean, there's not a single huge competition for the Batman in March. There are a few tiny movies like The Lost City, which are releasing in March, but I don't think they are going to affect Batman's box office at all. It all comes to Morbius on April 1st, and still Morbius is not a big enough name, but at least it's a competition from the same genre. So, considering the whole month of March is for the Batman himself, I mean the tickets are on sale from March 1st onwards. So that means the whole month of March is for the Batman. How good will its legs be? I mean, can we expect a Dark Knight level domestic total? I don't think so. I won't go to expect Dark Knight level domestic total. And it's not going to be Pandemic's biggest domestic total at all. I mean, even Spider-Man No Way Home with that level of hype has gained incredible success at the domestic box office. Even if the Batman makes half of what Spider-Man No Way Home did, it will still be considered a huge success. I'll just project it to be a bit more than its half. I think it's going to be somewhere around 400 million US dollars. It might exceed it, and I wanted to exceed it so badly. Now let's move on towards the worldwide box office total prediction, which is quite difficult to predict. I mean, this movie is releasing in China, and Dark Knight Rises did around $53 million in China. Batman vs Superman did more than that, around $90 million, and Justice League even exceeded that with around $105 million in China. Well, Aquaman was also released in China and it made almost $300 million in China. I'm not expecting the same from the Batman, especially since Hollywood movies are bombing in China recently. And let's see, I mean, I'm still expecting a big enough figure than Justice League, but I don't think its Chinese box office will make sure the Batman hits $1 billion. Look, I wanted to hit $1 billion, and I don't know if it will. I mean, there are certain chances that it will, but I am right now on the borderline of the $1 billion club. I mean, it can make a bit less than $1 billion, and it can make a bit more than $1 billion. I don't know how far it will go. I mean, it's of course not going to have Spider-Man No Way Home levels, and it's stupid to even expect that. Alright, so I think my range, I'm giving a $200 million range, so it's going to be somewhere between, for me, as for from what I think, it's going to be something around $900 million and $1.1 billion, as I said, something $200 million range, and I'm not sure if it will hit the $1 billion club. It may end up making Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice level numbers, but even that will be considered a big success. So these are my box office predictions for the Batman. I wanted to make a lot of money, more than what I predicted, but I think let's face the reality, this is what it's going to make. But I will like if it exceeds that. So thank you for watching, like, share and subscribe Film Villa.